Hello everybody, welcome to the KSP video, and in my channel I have featured a lot of really stupid rocket designs, like the Soviets UR-700M or some of the other ones, and yeah, they've all been pretty nuts. But today's video may just be the stupidest. It's no doubt the stupidest shuttle-derived launch vehicle ever made, or ever thought of. There's no way this is ever getting made. Yeah, this is the Jupiter 3 rocket, which was, there's actually very little information about. There's like one diagram of it that I can look at to kind of reference my rocket in a few videos. Yeah, it was a proposal made by a company called Team Vision to build like a rocket, like a kind of like a Saturn V. Like middle core rocket thing, and then it had two space shuttle boosters. It had the space shuttle minus the orbiter, like the external tank and the two boosts, the SRBs, put them on the side, and call that a rocket, right? Yeah, I looked up the company to see if I can find more information. All I got was team building resources. So Team Vision, unfortunately, does not exist, or maybe probably only existed for a few weeks when someone was high and decided to think of that and maybe draw a little diagram. But yeah, in theory, this thing could launch just like all the payload it wanted to. So yeah, there's so little information. I have no idea actually how much payload. But and the bottom stage, I am using Mastodons for. It's not actually F1 engines, which are the bottom stage. I'm actually not sure what the bottom stage engine. The diagram kind of sends mixed messages. I'll put a link in the description to the actual I'll throw it on screen right now and put a link in the description to see if you guys can try and, I don't know, piece together what's going on with this thing. This is my best attempt at recreation. Just based on looking what other people have done. There are a few other videos out there that people have recreated it. That is my best attempt at just this thing is such a disaster. The second stage, it's 3 stages. The second stage has J2X engines, and the third stage also has J2X engines. That's kind of where it's similar to Saturn V because the J2 was featured on the Saturn V, and like J2X is like the upgraded version of it. So yeah, that's the deal. This thing is a 3-stage vehicle, probably to orbit. I think there's some talk about this thing was going to be used to take stuff to Mars, part of the Mars Direct, or a counter proposal to the Mars Direct, which was another insane project that I'll totally do in a video for in the future. But yeah, no matter how you splice it, this thing's pretty nuts. And you know who else is pretty nuts? Epic segues is you people. Yeah, I just want to say thank everyone for subscribing. We hit 900 subscribers yesterday, so that was pretty epic. And I'm trying to hit a goal to hit 1,000 by the end of the month, and we have 10 days. It's going to be close, but I really hope I do it. I don't know, I feel like I will, because every time, all my goals seem to just be working out lately. I don't know why. You guys are just too awesome. Let me interrupt the plug, by the way. I'll talk about what I'm doing, by the way. So I'm going to be, there's such a giant payload fairing, actually. If you look at the actual diagram, it has, like, the fairing is, like, bigger than the whole rocket. So I'm going to be launching a space station with it, and we're not just going to be going to LKO. Now, this thing has so much Delta V. We're going to be taking it to Eve orbit. So I'm just assembling the space station now. And speaking of space stations, if I can get back to my plug, on my Discord, we actually had 150 people yesterday in the Discord, so that's pretty epic. So thanks everyone. I said I told the Discord I'd be plugging the Discord a little bit more in my videos because we're thinking about doing a community space station where everyone kind of like builds a piece of the space station, and then I'll make a big video about it or something. And that'd be really cool. And I was just saying, maybe we could get a few more members. It'd be better so we have more submissions and more variety and stuff, and more stuff to choose from. So I think that'd be really cool. If anyone wants to be part of that, we also do other fun stuff, other projects and stuff with the Discord. So there'll be a link. That'll be enough about plugs. No more plugs. Likes, comment, subscribe. Oh my gosh, hit the subscribe. Oh my gosh, guys. Free gift card giveaway. Anywho, so I do want to get that done because I want to talk about my station. So right now, this thing really does take up the whole fairing. I am taking these 2 little docking modules, which is what they are. They have some docking ports on them, and I'm just putting them at the bottom of the vehicle, just so it can actually fit in the fairing. We'll do some rearranging when we get into orbit, and the solar panels will obviously have to be retracted. It has that front panel with the cupola. That's kind of like what I envision as like the command/crew habitation area where the Kerbonauts will hang out. And then it has the 2 docking arms right next to it where people can dock to. Behind that is the electrical module with like the solar panels. And then behind that is the communication module with the communication array, which I'm building right now, which will go on top of that Mark 1-3 command pod, which is at the top of the stack. And that'll be facing the retrograde direction, and we'll see when we get out to Eve. This thing's actually really cool. I'm really happy with how it came out. It has all the essentials. It doesn't really have any sort of fuel storage or anything. This is more like a research slash like tourism-y outposty thing place location. But yeah, that's the deal with the space station. That's going to be it. We're going to be totally done now. And now we can head out to the launch pad and get ready to launch this absolutely huge piece of stupidity that someone envisioned and, well, a team visioned it, right? Team visions, company, puns, right? So we're going to get SAS on full throttle and we can release the launch clamps and start heading up to space. Get the time elapse going. So we are burning the 5 Mastodon engines at the bottom and then the 4 SRBs. The SRBs are really what give us like most of the weight. Like this thing would not be able to fly with those SRBs. Those SRBs are so useful. Surprisingly, this thing was super easy to fly. I have no idea why. This thing worked super well. Like, yeah, it might be the stupidest, but it's also like the cleanest. I don't know if that one means. Because a lot of the Soviet designs are just disasters. They're like parts everywhere in boosters in 15 different places. It's a disaster, but you know, this makes sense. So now, at least, staging away the boosters, as it's just the orange tanks that are fueling the Mastodon engines. There's a little bit of fuel tanks. It also has not much compared to the orange tanks, but they are going to be powering us as we get our way through about 35 kilometers and now. Just about to deplete the fuel in the orange tank or the 2 orange tanks, and then we can stage them away, and then it'll just be the last little fuel tank powering the Mastodons before that stage will be depleted, and then we can start firing the second stage, which is the J2Xs. There are 5 of them, and I use skippers as the analog because skiff is the J2, and a skipper is like kind of like a better-ish skipper, even though the better-ish skiff, even though the skipper has been in the game way before the skiff. But either way, that's what I did. Sue me, I don't know if you don't like it. So now we are burning that second stage, just trying to get as flat as possible, and also, you know, sorry, something stuck in my mouth. That's probably really awkward in the video. I thought I might choke there for a second. That would have been bad if I like choked to death on video. But either way, yeah, we have to try and fly as flat as possible without, here it is again, right? As fast as possible without losing altitude, and it looks like we have done that now. We're just about ready to get into orbit now, just facing prograde to get as aerodynamic as possible as we will drift our way up to orbit now. And I'm going to be going to the night side. I have had major problems with the night side, where the planets get really pixelated and the stars get pixelated and stuff in general, and it's really grainy and bad and horrible and just generally not what you want. I don't know if that's a YouTube algorithm or that's just me not doing something right in my render settings, but I've looked at my recordings and my recordings look fine. So if anyone knows what's going on, I use DaVinci Resolve as my editing software, so let me know if anyone knows. And it's not the ambient light thing. Like I turned up ambient light boost. A few people told me to do that. That fixes the problem on like the craft not being grainy, but the planets, it really gets distracting in the video. So hopefully I figure out something to do about that soon. But now we are doing the rearranging in orbit before we can head out to the purple planet. Yep, you gotta switch up the words so you're not repetitive, right? That's what they teach you in art class, right? Now we're just doing the docking and kind of screw this docking up a little bit. I'm like the professional docking screwer-upper. That'll be my challenge, my channel thing. I'm bad at docking guy 5000. So we are now getting together, and we can get the communication thing, put it in place, and then the station will be fully assembled, and then we can start to head out to Eve. Don't mind all the red flags there; those are Soviet flags. I forgot to toggle flags, and you know you can always use a few more Soviet flags, right? You know, can't ever have enough, right? So that's the station fully assembled. Now I'm going to time warp to a transfer window to Eve, well, which is basically the angle you want between the planets where you want to start your burn. So with Eve, it's minus 54 degrees behind Kerbin. So now I'm just completely eyeballing it. I do it inefficiently, but I have a little extra. Well, not, yeah, I have pretty much perfect amount of delta V with my inefficient flying methods. Yeah, so I mean, maybe I shouldn't have been dilly-dallying, not dilly-dallying, but getting inefficient transfer windows, because I don't really have, I'm using the mouse trying to just guesstimate how many degrees I'm at right now. So I'm like, hey, you know, just put maneuver down, it's experiment, like, hey, yeah, that seems about, this is not a tutorial, if you haven't figured that out. Yeah, don't use this to get to Eve. First of all, don't go to Eve, it sucks. I mean, well, no, not sucks, it's actually a really cool looking planet, but don't try and fly there and come back, you know, land, bad, the danger zone, right? I don't know, maybe that'll be fun. Maybe I'll do a tutorial. I don't know. Do you guys want to do tutorials? I don't know. Do people want to do tutorials? They could be fun, but I feel like there's just so many on KSP. I've also thought about starting a news segment on my channel about like rocket news, because I feel like there's not a lot. There's a bit of a gap in the market, right? There's not short form, consistent, or frequent short-term news. Like most news, like Matt Lowndes' Space This Week or Marcus House or other people that I'm forgetting to name, they do like once a week, maybe 10 to 20 minute videos. Matt Lowndes being a little shorter and Marcus being a little bit longer. They do that, but there's no daily rocket news channels, and there's no short ones. So what I was thinking is starting a 60-second daily upload that goes through the news super quickly, the news of the day. I'll call it your daily rocket rundown in our alliteration, right? So if you guys are interested in that, let me know if you think I should do that. I think it'll be fun. It won't be in replacement of the KSP content. It will be in addition to. So no droppage of any content. So let me know if you're interested in that. I'm thinking about doing that. I don't know. Maybe if people watch it, I will do it. And now I am done talking about that because I just needed something to fill the time with because I feel like interplanetary maneuver node planning and burning and all that stuff is a little boring to watch, and it's not really that interesting to talk about, I think it's also kind of funny is I'm like Matt Lowndes 2.0, people have said. My pitch, and I've said this like in one video before, is like I'm Matt Lowndes, but like I upload more often, and I guess I have a little more of a focus on recreations and stuff. Matt Lowndes usually does more original stuff, and I do like recreations, more obscure designs, concepts, and stuff. I think it's really fun to do. So, I guess that's my pitch. I'm like Matt Lowndes, but more. I don't know. Maybe that's a good pitch, but I think it's kind of funny if I want to make sure I'm not ripping off Matt Lowndes. Probably starting a news segment to my channel is not what you'd want to do, because Matt Lowndes is a KSP YouTuber who does news also, and I will also be Matt Lowndes is a KSP YouTuber that does commentary videos about builds he does and has build time lapses, and he shows the videos, and they're usually about 15 to 20 minutes in length. That's basically my channel, and he does a news segment, and I'm gonna do a news segment. I think that's just kind of ironic. Maybe, who knows? Like that's also keeping up with my theme of Matt Lowndes, but more. Like he does once a week, I do once a day. I don't eat that, Matt Lowndes. Matt Lowndes is awesome. Everyone, and Stratzenblitz is awesome. I also want to kind of rip him off too and do craft like his, but I'm not smart enough to do like his 1-ton Eve SSTOs and Bradley Wiston's too. Those guys are awesome. I am not that awesome. Tangents aside, we are now arriving at Eve, where we are getting ready to start our retrograde burn to get into a highly elliptical orbit. Don't worry, that's not going to be our final orbit. I'm just doing that so I can do correction burns in the sphere of influence, just because it's more efficient to do plane changes at a high apoapse than it is to do it, at retrograde burns or prograde burns when you go like out to interplanetary space. You want to do them as close to periapse as possible. For plane change maneuvers, you want to do them as far away from planets as possible, so at apoapse. So that's kind of why I'm getting into an eccentric orbit. Also, it is more efficient because you want to burn a periapse, right? O-Earth effect. I'm sure if you've watched Matt Lowndes, you know what an O-Earth effect is. He talks about it like every video. So we are now going to the maneuver node to do the first of like 15 correction burns. So the first one is going to get ourselves at least partly in a correct inclination, and then the second one's getting us pretty much for the rest. It's not perfect. I'm like 2 degrees off, I think, in my inclination, but I mean, what are you gonna do? You could sue me. Well, a lot of stuff to sue me about this video, right? Now we are going to just be doing our final burn, which is going to get ourselves in a circular orbit about 140 kilometers each. And this could be a cool little area to do. It could be like a gateway station to do Eve missions with, but like bigger and more epic. Yeah, that could maybe that'll be the pitch for this station. That could be a fun use for it in the future. Let me know if you want to see that. Yeah, that's gonna be it. We're just gonna undock that node, and that will be the station in Eve orbit. So let's cross it over to a nice view of it in the proper orientation, solar panels out. So yeah, that's the end of the video. So there'll be cards if you want to click on all that stuff. But that is going to be it for me today. So thank you for watching. Until next time, please rate or comment to this video. Once again, thank you for watching. Until next time, and bye.